What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are continuing to celebrate the spooky Halloween season by unboxing these two NECA Universal Monsters Ultimate Count Dracula figures in the likeness of the one and only legendary Dracula pioneering actor and classic Golden Age horror film actor, the one and only Bela Lugosi. So guys, my name is Matt, and this is the PopComplex. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the PopComplex. Today, we are again unboxing these two NECA Ultimate Count Dracula figures based on 1931's Universal monster movie Dracula, based on Bram Stoker's classic novel. So today we have the Ultimate Count Dracula, the color version, and we also have the black and white version. And guys, as a special little treat, a bonus, we will be unboxing the NECA Universal Monsters Dracula accessory set as well. But that comes later. So let's take a closer look at these two figures. And here we have the Ultimate Dracula by NECA. This is the color version, so this front artwork recreates the classic 1931 Dracula movie poster that we're all so familiar with. Take a closer look at that logo there. As you can see, glossy. Carl Laemmle presents Ultimate Count Dracula. Flip it to the top, and we have that classic Dracula logo on the side. Flip it around to the side, and we have some artwork of the figure. We have the classic Bela Lugosi look with the arched eyebrow, sort of that sinister look. The Universal Monsters logo, NECA and Real Toys logo. Flipping it around to the other side, we have nice photography of that sinister smile with the lighting effects on the eyes as he appeared in the film. Again, the Universal Monsters logo, the NECA and Real Toys logo. And if we flip it around to the back here, we have some awesome photography of the figure itself out of the packaging, and the different poses with the different accessories and different heads and hands, different ways that we can display this figure. And of course, on the bottom, we have the barcode and legal information, and we have the iconic Lugosi, the official Lugosi seal there from the Bela Lugosi estate, that this figure's likeness is approved. Flip that flap open, and we have the classic first appearance of Bela Lugosi as Count Dracula in the movie with the candlestick, as he appeared in Count Dracula's castle when Renfield showed up. And looking at the figure itself, there's Bela Lugosi, his likeness, really awesome likeness there. I think they really nailed it as far as his likeness on the sculpting here, and we'll take a much closer look at those heads once we get it out of the packaging. But as you can see, the accessories he does come with, the bat that he does transform into. It's pretty big, it's about that long, as you can see in the packaging. Looks like he comes with a stand here, and this is the classic Count Dracula with the tuxedo and the medallion, and he does have the candlestick up there, and he looks like he does come with the wine bottle, the two goblets, the serving tray, and there are the alternate hands right there. So that is the Ultimate Count Dracula, the color version. Let's take a look at the black and white version, and we have here on the black and white version a nice alternate movie poster. As you can see here, a nightmare of horror, Dracula, as he claims one of his female victims. Ultimate Count Dracula with a little painting from the staircase in Count Dracula's castle here. Very cool. Flipping it around to this side. Well, let's flip it around to the top first, and we have the recreation of that logo with that little painting artwork there on the top. But on the side, we have black and white photography of this black and white figure with that open mouth, sinister look. And this figure actually recreates the, it's the Carfax Abbey likeness of Count Dracula. So it's not the classic tuxedo and medallion. Flipping it around to the side, we can see the artwork of Count Dracula with the top hat, which this figure does include. And on both sides, we have the Universal Monsters, NECA, and Real Toys logo on the back. Very, very nice artwork. Not artwork, photography of the figure. And this classic hands down, reaching out, that haunting Count Dracula, the classic pose there. This guy looks really amazing with that. There he is, Carfax Abbey with the top hat, with the open mouth, and then classic stoic look there with his eyes illuminated as he did appear in the film. And then of course the bottom, again, we have the same artwork and legal barcode information as before, and the Lugosi icon there, the Lugosi logo. So flip this open, and immediately we have some nice photography of Count Dracula as he appeared there, Carfax Abbey, out among the streets there with the cane and the cape. And then looking at the figure itself, we have that nice black and white paint job that NECA has been doing so well on in the previous monster figures that I have unboxed. And guys, I will put a link in the description to those I have unboxed so far. The black and white and color versions of Frankenstein, the black and white and color versions of the Wolfman, and the black and white and color versions of the Mummy, all from NECA and Universal Monsters. So there are the alternate head sculpts there. We have an angry open mouth face there, the stoic look, and then the sinister smile. And we have the same bat here, and we have the same stand. And it looks like you can barely see it here, but there's the top hat and the cane on the side. And then he comes with many more alternate hands. It looks like about 5 hands in total. So one thing that is very distinctive now about this figure from the color version is that up to this point, guys, up to this point, NECA has given us the identical figures in the color and black and white versions, but this figure is the first figure in the series that is, up to this point, completely different from the color version, because as you can see here, he does have the Carfax Abbey clothes outfit on, and this is the classic Count Dracula as he appeared in his castle with the tuxedo and the medallion. So 2 different figures there, guys, in the color and black and white versions. The only gripe that I have with that is that I wish that we had gotten the black and white version of the only gripe that I have about that is that we did not get the classic Dracula's Castle version, the first appearance, in the black and white. We got the Carfax Abbey appearance in the black and white. It would have been nice to have this classic, iconic Dracula as he first appeared with these accessories, the candlestick especially, to recreate that classic pose right there in black and white. That would have been nice, and maybe had switched up and done the color version in the Carfax Abbey variant. But I see what NECA is trying to do there, giving us as consumers, as toy collectors, a reason, more of a reason, to buy the black and white variants other than just the paint itself, and giving us the exact same figure. But that's the only gripe that I have about these figures. They are very well done, very well sculpted, very, very awesome likenesses, guys. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get both of these Count Draculas out of the package and take a closer look. All right, guys, and we're back with these 2 beautiful Count Dracula Bela Lugosi figures from NECA. So we'll take a closer look here at the color version. Just a very, very awesome likeness of Mr. Bela Lugosi as Count Dracula. I'll spin it around so you can even get the detail on the back of the hair. But closer Closer look there at the sinister smile down to the very wrinkles and creases in the skin, as you can see there. And we have the classic Count Dracula medallion, the tuxedo detail on the buttons and the chains coming from those. Closer look at the hand with the ring there that he is wearing. The other hand down to the tails of the coat. And the shoes. As you can see there, guys. Very, very awesome likeness. And before we get into the articulation on this guy, we'll take a closer look at all the accessories and the alternate heads and hands. So he does come with 2 alternate heads. So the head that comes on him already is more of the sinister smile. This, however, is that more stoic, serious, evil, Dracula means business look there. And these are just on a ball joint, so that will pop off and pop right back onto the ball joint that is coming out of the neck socket. And then we have the open mouth, angry look. You can see the detail of the tongue and the wetness inside the mouth there even. Very, very cool detail and close-up look on those eyes. This is really an awesome figure. I couldn't be more happy with this figure. All right, then the alternate hands that he does come with. He does come with an alternate set of open hands, like they're open, finger spread like he is reaching out. So there's the ring that is sculpted on his left hand, which would be the right hand to us. And then his right hand, which is left to us there. And then we have more of a closed gripping hand so that he can grip the candlestick, which we'll take a look at here, or maybe the serving tray that he does come with. Speaking of that candlestick, here it is. Kind of shaped kind of organically. It looks like a sort of a serpentine, dragon-esque, gothic kind of look to it, which is awesome. And then there's the candle itself, the flame and the wax dripping down. Again, guys, it would have been cool to get this accessory in the black and white so that we could recreate this classic scene where he's holding the candle in the black and white version, since that is how he appears in the film. Here's the wine bottle. If you can look down in there, you can see that this is a little bit hollow in the top to show that it is like an open wine bottle there, but it has a greenish tint to the plastic. And then we have the serving tray with the 2 goblets of wine there. These are separate, so you can take these off, but look down in there, you can see it does look like they're full of wine. It's purple and very shiny. Looks like they are full. We get 2 of those, and then we get this dry brushed, tarnished looking silver serving tray. And then the final accessory that we have here is the bat. Now the bat did come with this stand so that we can display the bat like it is actually flying, which is really cool. And take a closer look at the detail on the bat, because this figure did come with the color, and the black and white versions do come with this bat. So as you can see, the bat actually has color detail as far as browns in the fur, and you can see that there's red in the mouth, the tongue, and in the eyes, and a little bit of reddish tint inside the ears. So that actually does differentiate it from the black and white version of the bat, which we'll go ahead and take a look at since we are looking at the bat. You can see that those details are in black and white. So that is what differentiates the two bats, the black and white and the color version. And he does also come with, I didn't put this on him yet because I wanted to take a closer look at the articulation first, but he does come with the same cape that the Carfax Abbey figure does come with. We have a hard plastic collar here that does just kind of snap and sit on around his neck, but the cape itself is made entirely out of cloth, and it's pretty heavy. It's like a silky polyester kind of fabric that it will hang very well, and it will look very natural, as I've already explored here in the black and white version. But it looks very, very awesome, and I'm a little reluctant when it comes to action figures actually having cloth clothes, but I think this is done really well, that it's heavy and substantial enough that it will hang and it will look very natural. Because sometimes I feel that cloth clothing on action figures tends to look a bit bulky and unnatural. So we will take a look at the alternate heads now of the black and white version quickly before we get into the articulation, but we get those, looks like the same head sculpts, just in the black and white paint job as before. We get the sinister smile that the color version did come packaged with, and this is how we know Bela Lugosi as Dracula, this classic black and white look, which really gives him a pale, like a vampiric, very pale skinned look, like he is actually undead. So that's really great there. And again, I wish we could recreate this in the black and white version with the classic medallion and tuxedo. And then we have that open mouth, angry face that we do get here in the color version. Again, it's like they do almost look like they're two different head sculpts, but the striking difference in the color and the paint job only gives us kind of the optical illusion that they're two different heads, but these are the same head sculpt. It's just the paint that gives us that illusion. And then the black and white version does come with several different hands. He comes with 5 as opposed to 3. We have his right hand, which would be the left hand to us facing, and we get 2 different like open-handed poses. Not much difference there, just a little bit wider spread in the fingers as far as a reaching out look to get that classic look that we saw on the back of the packaging. And we have that same gripping hand here in the color version where he can grip that candlestick, but the candlestick is in color, so that would look a little bit weird. And then we do have the ring hand, which is his left hand, but the right hand to us. And it is the two different open grip, like the fingers are spread a little bit farther apart on this one, not as much on this one, but the detail on the ring is really what gets me. I'm really excited about that. So he does come with those 5 hands. And then of course he does come with the cape, and I do have that on him already, and the top hat, which we'll take a closer look at. And he does come with this cane here, and I went ahead and put it in his hand. Now the hands that come on this figure are gloved hands, which are something that we do not get in the color version. So he is out and about on the streets, so he is in full dress with cape, cane, top hat, and dress gloves. So the other hands that he does come with are the ungloved hands, if you will. Very awesome. I do like this look with the top hat, the cloak, and the cane. So now we take a look at the articulation on Dracula. So the head again is on a ball joint. It is on now this head is on a double, sort of a double ball joint. So we get the ball joint where the neck actually meets the bottom of the head itself. So he can get, looks like a full 360-degree rotation, but he is Dracula, not the Exorcist, so there's no reason for his head to really spin around like that. And then we get some articulation, which you can't really get that much of it with the way that the ball joint is so deep onto the neck socket. But of course, looking at one of the alternate heads here, we have the ball joint where it snaps down into the ball and socket in the torso here. So as far as shoulders go, he has a typical ball joint on the shoulder, so he can get almost out at a 90-degree angle, a little bit prohibited by the sculpting as far as the shoulder goes, but forward and back, full 360 degrees here, and then any angle inward and outward there that you'd like. It looks like he has a single jointed elbow, which when I took a look at the mummy actually had a double jointed elbow. It looks like Dracula here only has a single jointed elbow, and I think it's maybe because of the way that the coat, his tuxedo coat looks, it would kind of spoil the illusion of the sculpting there, and not really super necessary anyway to have double jointed elbow. Now for the mummy, where he could get that his arms crossed across his chest look, I really think that that was really necessary. So good for that figure, but not so much on this figure. It doesn't really need to work like that. So this elbow also has a swivel inward and outward, as well as up and down, and then down to the wrist. Of course, we get the classic 360-degree wrist swivel. These do pop out, and they are on that tiny little peg there. And as you can see, there's a hinge there at the end of that peg, so his hands can go down and up there at the wrist as well. Same thing on the other arm. Now it looks like there is an ab cut, but the way that this coat is sculpted, it kind of where the tails come down over the back of the figure, it kind of prohibits any twisting with that. But again, this is not really needed because you don't really get that much posability and posing with this particular character and what we're trying to recreate from the film. Now the bottom of the coat kind of comes down into this softer, more pliable, rubbery plastic, so that you can get some different poses if you wanted to with the legs. But as far as the legs go, we have a hip joint here, and it is a typical ball joint that we do see. As far as how the pants are sculpted here that come down over that's about as far out as the leg would go. But again, you're not going to really need that because this character doesn't really ever move like that. So why display him like that? But that's okay. I'm just giving you guys an idea of what we do get. And as far as forward, that's as far forward as we get. Again, the pants, the sculpting here over the top of the hip kind of prohibits that. We have some nice piping, the stripe piping down the side of his dress pants there, the tuxedo pants. We have a single jointed knee here. Get about nearly 45 degrees, but not quite. But again, this is not really an action-oriented character, so it's not really super necessary. And then we come down as far as the knee itself does get some swivel inward and outward a little bit to kind of help with posability if you're trying to get this guy to stand, which I think he stands really well on his own. Usually the characters that have these pants and the small feet like this, typically they're a little bit of a pain to get them to stand, or the legs may be a little bit off, they don't line up. Can be a pain, but this guy stands really well on his own, which I'm really happy with. And the final point of articulation is an ankle rocker and swivel, so he can get a little bit of forward and a little bit of back. But again, the sculpting of the pants kind of prohibits that. And then you can get a little bit of side to side within the sculpting of the bottom of the pants too, on the ankle. So that is the articulation of the color version of Count Dracula, and we took a look at all the accessories. So now, before we take a look at the black and white version, we've already looked at the articulation. I'm going to go ahead and snap this cape on so that we can get the full effect of the classic Count Dracula. All right, guys, there we go. That is awesome. Look at that, the classic Count Dracula look with the cape. That is incredible. I love it. I love that with the cape. It's so iconic there. And I will probably pose this guy with the candlestick, just like on the inside flap, that first scene when he is inviting Renfield into Castle Dracula. So now we'll take a look at the black and white version, the Carfax Abbey. So I did put his top hat on, which, you know, that's very easily removable. It just kind of wiggles down on there and sits. It's a little bit hard to tell which is the front and which is the back, but I think that this is the front because it has a much better fit on his head, but it just sits there as so, kind of in place. Kind of pops off a little bit. It's not really molded perfectly, but if you press down on it a little bit, it's not really going to go anywhere. It's going to sit on there pretty firm. So we'll go ahead and remove that so that we can take a closer look at the detail on this face. And this is the more of the stoic face. It's not the sinister smile like we get here, but it's not the angry open mouth as well. And we get the tuxedo with the chain coming down the front of the buttons, and we have his pocket watch here in chain. Again, it would have been nice to have had this look in the black and white, but this figure is pretty cool on his own. And the difference between the cape here is the interior, the liner of this cape is a gray color, as opposed to this cape, which is black all the way around. I have to take a look at the film again, guys, to see if this cape in this particular scene did have the gray liner. It may very well have been. I just can't remember that off the top of my head. But if you guys let me know in the comments if that's the distinction, that would be great. Leave those comments down below. We do have the same articulation again in this figure. The only difference is we get the additional 2 hands, and we get these gloved hands as well. And of course the cane is an additional accessory that I've already placed in his hand. So what a beautiful, beautiful figure we have here. I'm not going to go over the articulation on this guy because it is the exact same articulation as was in the color version. So I'll put his top hat back on. And drape the cape down over his shoulder. That is a very, very beautiful set of figures. Thank you to NECA for such an awesome job on these two. They have really been knocking it out of the park on the Universal Monsters series, and I cannot wait for the additional figures to come, guys. Now, I will be unboxing the rest of these Universal Monsters figures here on the channel. So again, I will be unboxing the Bride of Frankenstein, when both versions come out. I know we've only gotten one version of her so far, which I've picked up, and we do have the color version of the Invisible Man, waiting on the black and white version because I do want to unbox both of those at the same time. And then the Creature from the Black Lagoon, the black and white version is out, but I'm waiting on the color version as well, and I will be doing both of those here on the channel as well. So now, guys, we are going to be taking a look at, as a bonus, the Dracula accessory set, guys. So this accessory set does come with the coffin, the possum, as you can see here, the armadillo over here, the giant spider that crawls up the wall, and the cricket inside of the case from the film. So guys, stay tuned. All right, guys, and now we have the Dracula accessory set by NECA out of the packaging. And the highlight of this accessory set is the coffin. Coffin itself, but we will take a look at that here in just a moment, but we'll take a look at the other smaller accessories first before we look at the coffin. Now, this accessory set is in color. It's in the color paint, so it will go along with the color version of the figure to recreate any scenes from the movie or any poses you want to. So here's the box with the cricket inside from that scene in the film. And the cricket's case almost looks like a little miniature coffin itself. As we can see, the cricket there. Doesn't really look much like a cricket, but it has more of an orange and yellowish paint job there on it. And it is sculpted as one entire piece there, with the lid slightly askew. Next accessory here is the giant spider. So of course this spider is unnaturally large in scale in the film, but you know, we're in Count Dracula's castle, so you never know what you might find, what you might see, what you might experience. But again, this is in color. You can see the brown fuzz on the back of the spider, and the pinks and oranges in the fangs and the mandibles there. This is the spider that crawls up the wall in that scene. And then we have the possum here, which is, it looks very good. It's a very well detailed and sculpted possum. Again, it's kind of strange. There was a possum just randomly in Castle Dracula, but you can see the pink on the tail there and the ridges, and the detail there, pink on the nose. Very well sculpted. It'd be nice to have a couple of these just for, I don't know, for other reasons other than this set, but it's just a very well sculpted possum. And then the final smaller accessory is the armadillo. Again, this is just a very detailed sculpt here. The ridges on the tail, you can see the pink in the feet and on the tail, and some of the browns and golds sculpted into the shell of the armadillo and the face itself there. Now this does recreate the scene in the film. There is an armadillo in the castle. I don't know why there's an armadillo in Transylvania in Dracula's castle, but maybe they don't see too many armadillos in Hollywood and they just wanted to include something as far out as possible in Dracula's castle. But now we will take a look at the coffin itself. Now this coffin, unlike the mummy's sarcophagus, which is very much in color because of the gold and the blues, the gold detail on it, this coffin is actually, there's not much color to it. We have the dry brushed look that gives the handles on this coffin a very metallic look, which is very cool, very realistic. But the way this is painted in mostly grays, this would actually work for the black and white version alone. Now none of the other accessories would because they're in color, but this could work in the black and white display. We have some flecks of paint there on the top to give it a weathered, distressed look. The hinges there, but it's very basic, but it's very detailed and cool at the same time. It recreates the look of the coffin, and this look is so iconic in Golden Age horror, and in as far as the stereotype of what we know when you think of Count Dracula, you think of this this very hexagonal shaped coffin, the classic coffin style. But we're gonna flip this open here, and the inside we continue that dry brushed gray motif. So again, simple but yet very beautiful. It will display very nicely, and I think Dracula will look very good in this, whether or not you display this with the color or the black and white version, because this actually would work for both. So guys, that was today the NECA Count Dracula, the black and white and color versions, recreating the classic Bela Lugosi Dracula from Universal Monsters 1931's Dracula. Guys, please hit that like button and share this video out to all of your classic horror fans. And please hit that subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified anytime I upload a new video to the Pop Complex. You guys don't want to miss a thing. Check out the PopComplex.com for all of your Pop Complex merchandise needs, t-shirts, hoodies, and coffee mugs. And you can also, if you feel so inclined, support the channel monetarily by going to patreon.com/the Pop Complex. As always, guys, links to everything will be in the description. So again, kicking off this spooky season, thanks for watching and have a terrifying day.